Hi everyone, I'm Matthieu David and I'm running this podcast, Game of Alpha. I'm welcoming today JX Paulin. JX has been in China for 25 years, if I calculate right, since 1992. And you have been funding the company DBX in interior design with about, what's the number, like 250,000 square meters delivered over the last 12 years. And DBX, according to your website, was founded in 1958. So you have to explain me something on it because you don't seem that old. And you said that you started in China in 2005. So I'd like to run this interview and to understand better about what it is about starting a business in China, especially when you have been in China since 1992. I mean, 1992, very few foreigners were in China at the time. 3 years back from 1992, a lot of foreigners left China. So I think a lot of stories about it. And also I discovered that you had a lot to teach us. You came to my office, like I think a month ago, and I thought I knew what you were doing. I thought I knew what you did before, and I learned so much more. I found out that you have several experiences, several lives in China, which are very intense. And I got you on the phone recently for my own office because I needed advice. And I was amazed by your ability to find the right way of talking to me because you convinced me. So welcome to the show, JX, and thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me here. Actually, it was not right on the date. Let me put it this way. First, the history of DBX. The full history is it's run in my family. My granddad was in construction, my mom was in construction, and back in the day, they had a company called Maison Europe. And they were doing construction and architecture. My mom came to China in 92 for a project. And then she let me come to China in 94. Okay, so myself, I came in 94. And basically, I was not interested into running any kind of architecture or any kind of construction business. So as you mentioned it, I had many lives. I work in an entertainment business, managing the biggest club in Shanghai back in the days. It was a fantastic experience. I learned a lot. I think I've seen things that few foreigners have seen, maybe few Chinese have seen. And it was a great time. I then moved into consulting, market entry consulting and management consulting. Obviously, that was my strong point. Then I became a chief representative for a French company that was also into market entry for French small enterprise based in west of France. And then in 2002, yes, it was 2002, I was offered a position in then the top 3 design and build company in Shanghai. And honestly, I moved in because he wanted a deputy general manager, and I was good in management, so I moved in. And I got caught by I would say, my family spirit. So in 2004, end of 2004, I created DBX. So what we did, basically, we told my mom, I said, listen, you know what, we're gonna buy your business back with my partner, or your name. And it turned out that we didn't even use her name. So we created this. But I would say it was important for the Chinese to understand that this company was not just created in 2004 or 2005. It was important to say, okay, you know, we are created in 58. But then again, when you come to our new website now, that we have 12 years history, I don't think you have any mention of it.
Okay. It's on your website, and was quite surprised that you have so historical rules. Yeah, I went to your website, to LinkedIn, so that I could find, and yeah, it's written 1958, which is surprising, and can help to begin the conversation. So interesting point. So what did you leverage from your mother in terms of assets? I mean, was it purely for branding to other Chinese clients, or did you leverage something?
It was purely branding to our Chinese clients. We didn't use any assets, basically because it was not adapted to the Chinese market. That's it. And we really started with my partner, my Chinese partner. That's it, 2 of us, carrying our bags, running around, going to meetings. Luckily for me, I had a good network at the time of real estate agent. I had good network of clients. So we started the company with our clients already. Many clients follow me. And that's it, you know. And but it was when we met new Chinese client, it was important for them to think that okay, we didn't just pop up on the marketplace. So it was in a way to reassure them.
Okay. I usually begin with a question about the size of the company, metrics of the company. What was a metric actually to be founded in 1958? But can you share with us some metrics about the company, like turnover, number of people, number of projects? I gave already some of them, like 250,000 square meters delivered, about 15 designers and 100 workers, if the numbers are still correct on your website. Could you give us numbers on revenues?
Okay, so basically the numbers are still correct. What we did is, you know, when I worked before in the previous company called CTL, when I was a deputy general manager, this company was as a DNB, design and build. It was huge. I mean, we had 200 full-time workers. We had 70 staff. And when I created DBX with my partner, we told ourselves, listen, we will never be that big because it was just not logical to be that big. You know, we have different way of managing people. The most important thing was to ensure the client's quality and the design quality. So what we had a tight team of designers. I call them it was like, I built like special forces. So each designer could do everything from concept to design to construction drawing to follow each project. And we built on this kind of management. So we had a team of 15 employees, 15 onboard employees at the most. You know, we move from sometimes some years we have 8, 10, 15. And then what we had hundreds of workers, sometimes even more, working for us. So the beauty of it is because we were busy, because we had good business, and we still have, they were not under our payroll, but they were mainly doing a project. That's the thing. So that allowed us to basically have more revenue in terms of net profit. Instead of my own old companies that was just like, that was crawling under like 200 employees, 100 workers under their payroll. So what we did in, I believe it was in 2008, was maybe our best year. We did $6 million US. When you look at it, for 15 staff, it's not that good. I mean, we have tremendous years. It was great. It was like, it's the way we managed our team was really in terms of risk control. So each designer had its own freedom of doing project. Of course, I was the one like leading the concept. But he has his own freedom. He could do within a certain time frame, but he could basically go on site or go and have a coffee with his friend. But as long as the job was done, it was great. So the funny thing is, doing this kind of management, we have a huge staff retention. So staff stay with us most of them for 9 years, which in China is a lot.
Okay, I see. So you were founded in 2004, and 5 years after, you reached $6 million US revenue.
Actually, less than this. 4 years after. I mean, it was great. Basically, we almost double our turnover each year. It was great. 2005 we did great. 2006 was good. 2007 was good. 2008 was a peak. We took a hit during the financial crisis, like everyone. But even though we only felt the hit in 2010, and because we diversified, we went into a light industrial project. DBX was mainly built created to answer the office design and build demand. And then what I did is I spread just like into light industrial, so this 5, 7, 10,000 square meter project. And then of course I expanded into Africa.
Okay, we will go back on Africa later on. First, I'm very interested to understand the beginnings, because I always felt that it's very rare to have foreigners involved into real estate. I feel it's a very local business. For every country, it's very local. For every country, it should be local players into real estate, into these managing workers, right? 100 workers. who certainly don't speak a word of English, or may have been the first foreigners they may see. How did you manage it, and what was the difficulties, and how did you find difficulties, or it was pretty easy for you? Could you tell us more about that?
Well, first of all, you had a foreigner in the real estate industry in China till I would say until 2014. I would say you had princes of real estate, foreign princes. You had guys like Yan Deschamps. You have guys like they were really famous in doing this job. Mark Suchi, all these kind of great guys that just built real estate in Shanghai. Anthony Kors, all these guys that now Anthony Kors is a managing director of JLL Asia Pacific. I mean, these guys were in real estate. Now, when it comes to design and build, and as you mentioned, construction, you indeed have few Westerners in this field. You have Singaporean, you have Hong Kongese, of course, many, but you have few foreigners. Back in, I think it was in 2000, back in 2003, I went through a course in law and safety. It was mandatory for people in my position to do it. And I was indeed the only foreigner, only Westerners in this course of 40 people. We had Singaporeans, we had Hong Kongese, they were owner or PM, but I was the only Westerners, like taking a Chinese course on law and safety. As I had a previous background in a diverse industry, managing workers was not a shock. It was just like interesting. It was challenging. And once again, I had a really good project manager that was with me for many years, and he was doing really the management. I was managing him, and he was managing the rest. So of course, it's not like it was great years of. The biggest challenge for me was to ensure the quality for our client, the integrity of our brand and the integrity of the project. That's it.
I see. So how did you ensure it?
By being there every day on site. No, what happened is, when you manage workers, when you work on site, at the end of the day, you have to be on site. Because for any construction worker, you tell him, we're doing a project for Microsoft. He doesn't know Microsoft, period. So the only way that he understands that this project is important for the company if he or she sees his boss on site. That's it. So you really have to. You have a commitment toward your company. You have a commitment towards your clients to be on site and to show the workers. You know what? You have to care about it because I care about it. So when we call my days, what was my day? Normal, typical office days. Okay. Arrive in the morning, I have a team meeting with my staff, looking at the project, looking at the critical line, what happened, what might happen, meeting some suppliers, some real estate agent, and during the afternoon, taking my car, traveling around Shanghai, and just like visiting sites.
Yeah, you mentioned timing, you mentioned like availability to be available to visit sites and to be I would say a bit intense on the work, and I feel that's what you want to convey on your website. The contact form is saying that you are available until 6 p.m. and more if needed, and on the weekend if needed. Is it part of what you sell? The constant availability and the fact that you are very intense on product?
Well, it is. I don't think China is so challenging. It's a market that is so challenging. I don't think that you can succeed if you're not available for your client. Period. You have to, especially back in the days when the real estate was at its peak. We had no weekends. You have to answer a pitch. You have to answer basically tender on Monday, and they give it to you on Friday. So you have to come during the weekend. In our line of business, I don't think we can consider a weekend. It's more like based on, project based. That's a way I train my team to think like this. It's like it's a project based. It's not a time based. It's not a job from 9 to 6. We have a mission to complete. We have a project to complete, and that's it. So basically, if it requires us to come on Sunday, we'll come on Sunday. If it requires us to answer at 9. Mm-hmm.
It's more of a market which is like this. Okay,
yeah.
I understand. So to come back on what DBX is doing. So I want to find an office. You're not looking for office space, right? I have to find a real estate agent for the office space. once I found an office space or different office spaces I like, then I go to you and I ask you if you can design it. And again, what I found out in your hook on the website, in your sales process, is that you are offering a free consultation. So the free consultation consists in I provide to you enough information for you to give us advice on how to organize a place or if it's a good place for us or not. And then I can sign the lease because I feel confident that you can do a good work on it and you can rearrange it with a price you would have given to me beforehand. Is it what you do in terms of sales process? And then once we sign with you, you take in charge of construction, of even the tech inside, I mean the phone lines and so on. Where do you stop? I mean, you don't look for you don't help people finding the office, and then you give the key to your clients to use the office once they have found one, a redesigned one, right? Am I correct? Or can you tell us more about what does it take? Where do you stop your services until where it goes?
Oh, basically, it's like this. After being in China for 23 years and having a company for 14 years, basically, where do we start? We start basically when technically it's, as you mentioned, is once you have few location, then you call us. But what we could do and what we do often is once you think about moving out, you better call us. Why? Because honestly, few business owners as you have a clear idea of how much space you really need. Okay, first of all. So basically, we help you think about, the space you really need. We help you to think about what is the new workplace strategy that you need to apply, how you need to think your business in the next 5 years, not what you used to think before. And then again, of course, because we have a really good knowledge of each buildings in Shanghai, we tell you, okay, you can go to this one, the rent might be cheaper, but in fact, you might face a more expensive price of fitting out or more expensive cost of renovating the air condition, for instance. So that's the thing. So we really come as a consultant on this part. We do not want to step on the real estate, on the agent footstep, but we come here to tell you, what, we don't really care where you're going. We just tell you, because we've done so many projects in grade A, grade B minus, and super grade A offices. We also know what you are in terms of industry and what maybe you should look at. We also understand what the new employees, what the millennials want, because at the end of the day, we are the one designing place for them. So we will tell you, okay, basically, Matthieu, okay, your team will need more space, more thing. You might want to come closer to the subway, to forget about grade A, take a grade B, have a better fit out, take this spot, because you will have less cost when it comes to renovate or change the air conditioning, blah, blah, blah. So basically, once you sign the lease, we take the key from you. We design, we fit out, and we put everything. We are what we call turnkey, meaning that we will do all the fire, air conditioning, IT installation, security, furniture, of course, plantation. We also help you through your move, basically, and when we're done, we give you back the key. It's a bit of a plug and play.
Okay, I see. And all the regulations for fire, all the regulations for you have to comply to. So basically, it's all-in-one services. Yeah, I see. I understand. When you say fit out, by the way, on your website, what do you mean? Fit out firm?
There's a term of interior building. Basically, what we do when we call fit out is we take a bare shell, like a concrete bare shell place, and we build the interior. We apply the carpet, we build the wall, the ceiling, the lights, everything. That's what we call fit out.
I see. Could you give us a case you are especially, proud of, or you think would be very interesting for people who listen to us could help them understand your business and how maybe how the challenges that some of the clients may have faced and you have solved. So a case study that could be an example to visualize.
We have many case studies. The first one will be, for instance, how you work in what we call secure environment. For instance, when we work with the French consulate in Shanghai, and we work with them for 6 years. It's how to create an environment with secure drawings, and you know, of course, consulate have typical, requirements. So how we secure the drawings even for staff, for supplier. So what's very interesting. What we work, of course, we work with the French Chamber of Commerce. We've been the appointed designer since 2006 till now. So we did Guangzhou, we did Shanghai many times. But take the French Chamber of Commerce. What happened? For instance, I don't remember when. I think it was 2012. When the director of the French Chamber of Commerce in Shanghai called me, you know, they had some water leaking from the neighbor upstairs. Basically, their floor, it was 1,400 square meters, were under 5 centimeters of water. And this is what we do. You know, when you sign with us, basically we are here when you're in need. So we came in, we sit down with them, we just talk about how we're going to do, how long it will take us, how we can compartment the space so people can still work when we renovate the space. I mean, this is what we do. Okay, I like to say that DBX is a bespoke designer and built. We were never built to be like a mother, to do a huge project. But what we do is like bespoke tailor. We design and build spaces that fits you. That is the same. Any kind of requirements. So when we build factories, that's the same. When you come to see us to build, suit factories, we'll not say, let's see how much money we're going to make. We're going to sit down and say, okay, let's see what is practical, what we should do, what you shouldn't do. Let's use the best practice. What is your budget? Let's work around your budget to make sure that you can operate. That is the same.
Yeah, I saw again on your website that you mentioned your budget. You mentioned your budget is unique, which is a surprising, interesting way. To mention that actually you can indeed find something which can fit within the budget of your clients. I understand.
Let me come back to this. When I say the budget is unique, and it's true, your budget as Daxue Consulting will never be the same as Audemars Piguet, or to be the same as Perma, or the Bank of Rothschild. That's the thing. But our job is to make sure that we cater to your business, to give you the best of what you can afford. That is the thing. And if we cannot, we have a limit in terms. We don't want you to be sorry for it. It's okay. We want you and your team to be comfortable, to have a certain well-being, and to operate perfectly in your space. And as well, we say that each budget is unique that way.
Yeah, interesting wording. And can you tell us more about your association with your Chinese partner? We have seen in China a lot of companies failing because of partnership or misunderstanding because of partnership. Actually, especially in real estate, when you look at the hotels, which cannot own the building, they can only manage it, there's always some tensions between the guy who owns the building and the guy who manages the building. I guess real estate has been an example in China of failing partnerships so far. I mean, it depends which aspect of real estate is a big industry. Could you tell us more about how you made it successful? Because it works.
It's really interesting because many people, when I meet people that tell me, when you go into partnership with Chinese, you have to sign this, you have to sign that, you have to make sure, blah, blah, blah. I started DBX out of a handshake with my business partner. We just shook hands and say, we're going to work for 10 years more. And we're going to create what will become the top one design and build, French design and build company for corporate real estate. And we, from the beginning, we really split a role. She was in charge of the finance, and she was in charge also of making sure that we had the best price for our supplier, and I was in charge of the rest. Operation, design, construction, quotation, everything. And it made the work so easy, it was like, and we had no issue, no ego issue or whatever. And because we were working towards the same goal, we worked great. It was a great association.
But how did you meet? Because you do that on an handshake. Yeah.
Yeah, basically we met as many Chinese companies have built on, is we met working together for private owner. So.
Okay, and when you were working together, was it the person that you had you enjoyed the most working with? Was it the person you trusted most? Was it the person who actually you felt was the most ambitious? What made you think she was the right partner? I think it's she, right?
It's a she. It's a she. What made me think she was the right partner? Actually, it's prior to that, nothing. And she was the one convincing me to move out to open DBX. Because she could see how much we were working for private boss, how much basically I was running the company and taking everything. So it was.
I understand. So you were basically so involved in the company before that you knew everything about this company, you were managing it, and she was seeing you as the one who could bring business, and she doesn't know how to bring business, but she knows how to manage it. So then she thought it was complementary, and she told you, as a lot of Chinese actually dream of, let's start a business. Okay. How is it in terms of structure? That's something which is very often asked. I mean, is it a purely Chinese company? Again, it's real estate with potentially a lot of workers. How is it organized?
A pure Chinese company.
Okay, so you trusted her that she would respect your agreement.
Yeah.
Okay. For people who are not very, very aware of this, I mean, who may listen to us, you have in China differences between Chinese equity company, foreign equity company, and when both of them are merging, it's called a joint venture. It's a lot of paperwork to go through it. And some industries are forbidden actually for foreign businesses. Actually, interior design is forbidden, right? You could have registered a woofie, right?
No, we could have not. We could have started a woofie in design only, but not in construction.
I see. And you didn't think about starting two businesses?
No, we didn't think about it. And no, we didn't think about it. And we get caught into action. I mean, we started really fast. And believe me, when you're busy building your business, you're not really busy building the paperwork. So when it was great, it worked perfectly. And you have to keep in mind something, and an advice I give anybody that wants to open that want to venture in a Chinese-only company with a Chinese partner. What you have to make sure that at the end of the month or at the end of 2 months, you don't leave too much money on the bank account. Because at the end of the day, temptation ruins your partnership. That is the thing. But when you have, nothing to steal from, not that much money on the bank account, that's it. But of course, if you if you have 10 million RMB on the bank account, something might happen.
Okay. So, I see. So you are not the owner of the company, a bit like all the people who buy shares of Baidu or New Oriental on the Nasdaq. Actually, they don't own the company in China because education is forbidden for education, and design is forbidden for foreigners, so they just own a contract which is called a VIE, and that's similar what you did, but you have some way a balance of power. It's more like checks and balances, and the company cannot be run without you, so there is a deal between you two partners. Did you sleep well in this agreement?
Yes, I did. Basically, we have to put everything into perspective. I was the one until now. I was the one bringing back, I think in 12 years, I bought maybe 85% of all businesses. So I knew very well that if something happened, I could leave the company, open an ex-associate company and still make money. So it was not an issue. You have to be confident on what you have. And to make sure, once again, that you don't leave that much money on the bank account, of the company bank account. Otherwise, you might end up with nightmares. But once again, the partner was really trustable. It's something like and you have to work your way. Of course, we had clashes, we had disagreement, like brothers and sisters, and that's it. But we built a company together, and we had fun. We had stresses. We had fun. That's life.
You were speaking each other in English or Chinese, by the way?
Chinese. Now English is getting better, but she did not speak English.
Chinese. Okay, you were not understand to misunderstand things from her, to misunderstand things, to overinterpret. Your Chinese was good enough and you could understand fine what she was saying and not be scared to misunderstand. Because some aspects may be very technical, right? Like payment terms, like construction, the risk you may take over the construction, insurance and so on, maybe technical. And you were doing all in Chinese and we're fine.
You have to remember that I moved in China in '94. At that time, few Chinese spoke English or French, so I had to speak Chinese. I had to learn Chinese. And in my first job, when I was working in entertainment business, no staff were speaking English. So I had my Chinese was, back in already in '99, I think I was dreaming in Chinese already. So that's the thing. I've always been working in a purely Chinese environment. The only people I spoke in English were my foreign workers.
Okay. You learn Chinese on your own, or you took classes?
I went for 3 months at university, and then after that, I learned on my own.
3 months, and then after on your own. Okay. You're not typing, right? You speak and you type.
I speak and I type. Yeah.
That's more difficult to write. Okay, I understand. So I went on your website and looked a little bit at the code and so on to see if you were using some digital tools to get clients and so on. I'm seeing some interesting tools you are using, like Optimizely on your website. You have a Facebook pixel, but I don't see a lot you are doing online. How do you get your clients? I guess it's not online, it's mainly offline, right?
Oh, well, you have to see, it's. I must admit that on DBX, we're not big on digital. Why? Because we are really onto the Chinese market. And in our line of business, we get really, it's more like referral. People will give us referral. Like you, if I do your office, Matthieu, you're going to introduce me to somebody else. And even if we work with real estate agents, we work with lawyers, other things. So we could use, of course, like internet digital tools to drive more clients, to drive more traffic to our site. But then again, doing it abroad would not make sense. We have to do it for China on Baidu and everything. And I don't think it will create more traffic, because at the end of the day, this is really a Chinese way of saying things. Like, it's like let's say if I call your director of human resource and say, okay, we are DBX. If I'd say that, okay, I've been introduced by, I don't know, Stella, which is friend, okay, that's it. The funny thing is, most clients that we had barely go and see our website.
Okay. I thought you were using your website as a brochure to send to them, this is what our case is, what we did before, but no, actually it's through email or through paper. Okay, I understand.
Exactly.
You mentioned that it's mainly referral. I think you are a very social person. You have contact with people, making like so on. Did you learn that somewhere, or did you just by practicing? And because your business needed it to be, or it's your character?
I think it's my character.
Because some people have really learned about it, learning about negotiation, learning how to behave with people, reading a lot of books, actually written mainly by American authors about how to behave and so on, and they have patterns, defined patterns. Have you found some patterns on how to convert a referral you get? Do you have a sales process you are following, or it's more intuition and feeling during the meeting?
I would not say intuition. It's just like, it's error and trial. It's what I've worked and that we apply. Of course, we have behavior. I want myself to have some class on behavior analytics, how to analyze behavior. But that being said, I always tell my team, okay, this is what I've done. It hasn't worked, but maybe it will work on you. Meaning that nothing is carved in stone. That's the thing. So they are free to try something else. But of course, when you look at how we approach clients, it's rather systematic. How we do, the way we approach, the way we present things. When we do presentation, the order of the slide where we want to show it's based on human behavior.
So you say it's not systematic. You have not systematized too much your business. It's purely, even the approach to client is bespoke. You are going to prepare for a specific client, specific presentation. That's what you are telling me, right?
Yeah, because you see, each client is different. we work with great names, as I say. If you work with Audemars Piguet, basically, he doesn't care that you've done a Bank of Rothschild. He doesn't care that you've done the biggest like VC firm in China. What he wants to know if you've done some luxury brand before. Period. So we have to work on a different approach. We have to show him different things. But basically, it's almost the same thing. What is systematic is what we show to the client, the approach. Okay, we meet a client, what we're going to show it. It's really like it's going to be based on his requirements, on his DNA, on his industry DNA, or even on where he or she comes from. Because once again, if I meet an American and tell him, oh, we've done the French consulate. Okay, good. So what? But if I tell you, we've just done Prologis, which is the biggest real estate, industrial real estate in the US, you say, oh, great. I have this example. Once I was at the gym, and I was talking to a guy coming from Singapore. And he asked me, I said, what do you do? I said, I work for a design and build firms. Oh, which one? I said, DBX. Oh, I don't know. And I told him, okay, we've done Air France, we've done GC Deco, blah, blah, blah. And the guy didn't bunch. And I was like, wow. And I've tried to recall which Singaporean company we've done. I said, oh, we've done PSA. PSA is Singapore Port Authority. It's huge. And then the guy looked at me and said, wow, you must be so good. It was fun because, it was like, to me, it was a small 300 square meter project. It was like, but for the Singaporean guy, it was like a name. And we've done many Singaporean companies, like a huge name, like Excel Point, NCS, whatever. But if you tell it to a French guy or French lady, it won't ring a bell. But to a Singaporean, it was like, wow, you must be so good.
Sure. So it's cultural understanding. It's contextualization. You contextualize the speech for each client. I see. But is it your team can do it, or you are the one who do it?
No, they can do it. Okay. It's an approach that I've learned this approach even in China. As I told you, when you do a project for Microsoft or Apple, and your worker doesn't care who it is. So you have to build into to make him understand or make her understand, into our own concept. Like and once you apply it, I think you need to apply it in many aspects when you meet people to make people understand. So once you teach your team to do it, they can do it perfectly. It's I would say it's normal.
Okay. Because I see a lot of businesses which are relying a lot on the founders, the founder of the founders. And I feel that dealing with your clients is a lot about memory about the past products. So I was thinking that the best person who could talk about the past product is yourself. So that was my question. But have you found a way that your team is able to talk about all the products you did before, or you still have to supervise and mention the several good product you worked before, and are you still hands-on basically?
I have to be hands-on when it comes to concept. Or managing big project or managing complex projects, because you see, a profession gets better with age. An architect, an interior designer, construction, we get better with age because we've seen so many things. So we can basically say, no, don't do this because you have an impact on this one. We can, when I see a layout, I can tell you, okay, wow, you shouldn't do it because it doesn't make sense. Because I can project your company in 5 years' time. So, and it takes experience to do so. Not because I'm the greatest architect, I'm the smartest man on earth. It's just because I've done so many projects before. So I can tell you that, okay, now in the next 5 years, you'll still not work like this. Or even in the next 2 years.
That's why the value of the company is yourself. I mean, it's sometimes difficult to disconnect the value of the company and the value of yourself. And that's something that a lot of entrepreneurs want to, is to disconnect the value of themselves to the value of the company so they can go on holiday sometimes, right? So is it still the case?
Yeah. Yes, it is, but I think that you have to make some compromise. As I told you, I ventured into Africa in 2010, and starting that time, I started to travel more and more, and through my business took a hit in China because I was no longer more involved. But you see, I believe in putting my team into the dirt in a way, like, you have to be able to handle this thing. I'm going to give you everything that I know. I'm going to try to tell you everything that I know. and don't do it, and you have to, in China, it's a lot of learning by doing, and of course they've done mistakes, and they've done great things. I'm sure that they have greater achievement than they've done, in a way, and they will learn their own way. But true, it's once again, when it comes to complex or high-profile clients, I have to be hands-on.
Okay. When you reached about $6 million of turnover, how many projects was it in a year?
I'm sorry, come again?
How many projects was it in this year when you reached $6 million, roughly? Or what's the average size?
Well, the average size it's we used to do like 20,000 square meters a year, design and build. So the average size, maybe 1,005. So we're talking about what, 10, like 15 projects.
So when you say the turnover, when you talk about the turnover, you include all the costs of construction, all the purchases you have to do for electricity and so on. This is within your turnover, right?
I know. When I'm talking about your turnover, is how much money we generate.
Turnover, 6 million, and inside this turnover, you have to pay for the workers, for the construction, for the material to build the new office, right? So it's pretty heavy in terms of cost, isn't it?
Yes, of course. We are looking at a cost of that can go up to 80%. So basically, 80% of your revenue.
Okay, I see. Okay, it's a bit like advertising. When we talk with people in advertising, that they tell us a budget, but they have to give like half of it to Weibo and the third to WeChat, and then they get basically the fees on it. But okay, I understand. So you just talked about Africa. It seems that's a topic you want to talk about since the beginning, and I try to focus on China first. By the way, how is it about being a foreigner in China? Living in China as a foreigner, did you feel it helped you to do business? Did you feel it slowed you to new growth? What's your feeling on it?
I feel like I lived in Beijing for a year. I think there's different city to live in. I loved living in Shanghai. Now I moved to Singapore, of course, and I'm between Singapore and China. It was a great time. Shanghai is a great city for foreigners. It's challenging. But when it comes to business, I will always say that China it's a game with two rules. You have one set of rules for Chinese and one set of rules for foreigners.
Yeah, it's my feeling as well. The rules are not the same, but you have to know the rules, and sometimes it can be positive, sometimes it can be negative. I use the word like Chinese tend not to be xenophobic or xenophilic, but xenoreactive. I mean, they react to people, right? But differently.
Yeah.
You will never be Chinese, I will never be Chinese, and I will be treated differently, but it doesn't mean bad or good. Which is something different in France, I think, because in other countries, sometimes being a foreigner is perceived as negative, and there's no really upside of being a foreigner. But here in China, I feel there is an upside and downside. And so, coming back to Africa, you said that from 2010, you began to investigate into Africa. And I like before we finish, because we still have like 15 minutes, we talk about your interest in IT and how it influenced the way you managed DBX. I think it would be a very interesting topic to look at on how you investigate another domain, another field, and which can influence your main business. But let's go back on this later on. I don't want to forget it. That's why I'm telling it to you now. So about Africa. So what did you do then?
Basically, I'm from Togo. Okay. As the company was running, and I was pretty pleased with what we've done, I said, you know what? At the end of the day, let's try to go back and see what I've learned could benefit Africa in any way. So I traveled to Liberia, traveled to Gabon. I traveled to 16 African countries till now, and it was great. It's the beauty of Africa in a way. It's like China at different years.
You said in one article, it's China in the 1990s.
Yeah, correct. Because when you go to, let's say you go to Accra in Ghana, you will see like, wow, it's like Shanghai in 2005. You go to Nairobi in Kenya, you will say, oh, it's like Shanghai in 2010. You go to Johannesburg, it's like, okay, it's like Shanghai 2 years ago. You go to Liberia, it's like, wow, it's like Monrovia, it's like Shanghai in the 80s. So it's different. I mean, it's, in terms of real estate, in terms of potential, in terms of youth, it's incredible. That being said, I think there will not be any other market like China in terms of size, dimension, unity. It's unique. But Africa definitely there's huge opportunities real estate, in design and build field. It's difficult. Africa is another beast. But it's great.
Yeah, let's get a little bit, well, I try to understand the motivation as well behind it. You say you are from Togo, but you're French, right?
Yes, I am. Yeah. I'm both.
Yeah, so I feel there's a lot of people who actually have an international background and they are some way attracted to go back to their roots. Was it because of China, which was reflecting to you those roots, or it was something you had always into you to go, to do something for Africa, to do something in Africa? Because you said something which is interesting. You said, I want to do something for Africa. You didn't say, I want to do something in Africa. So that means I think that the motivation behind it seems to be beyond business. Is it something that after your successful journey in China, you wanted to do something else in Africa? Could you explain us more about the motivation?
Yes, it is. But you see, when I moved to China in '94, I remember that I wrote a letter to my mom and I said, you know what? Africans have to learn from China. In '94, it's like we have to stop looking at Europe as a role model and we have to learn from China. So to me, after many years in China, I say, you know what? I've learned things, I've learned great things in China, and I think I could apply it in Africa in many ways. And it's true, and I'm convinced that the future of Africa will lay in its relationship with Asia.
Why do you think the development of Africa will be linked more to Asia than the West?
Because the West sees Africa for its past, when Asia sees Africa for its futures. So you see, it's different. You go to France, you talk to whoever guys or ladies that work for in a Fortune 100. They tend to see Africa like, as it used to be. When we speak to a Chinese, you would see, okay, you see Africa as it should become.
Okay, so let's get specific on what you did in Africa. What did you do? Did you realize some development over there? Did you develop?
Yeah. So what we did basically, we worked with different departments, with private investors as well as government people, to work on reinstatement of distressed assets, like distressed building. In Liberia, for instance, so it was really interesting how we work, how to redesign, how we work even on small city planning. We work on social housing in Gabon. We work on university, how to renovate a university in Gabon as well. We work with private investors in Cameroon, in Uganda. So it's really interesting. It's when you come from a Chinese background, and when you have the speed with you, ideas, and when you've done this job so many times, so you come with fresh ideas and fresh way of doing stuff. So what people might think, oh, this is impossible. I say, of course it's possible. You just have to twist it a bit, do this, do that, and stop looking for perfection. It does not exist. Looking for be pragmatic.
And do you feel you can leverage, I understand you can leverage your experience you have on 20 years, on 15 years in design and build, but do you feel that you can leverage also the relationship with China, like sourcing material or sourcing products, or it's more the experience?
It's everything. It's the experience, the knowledge, the relationship that I have in China, and it's not what I believe, it's what I've done. I really leverage my knowledge and my experience and my relationship to export things that matters to, like electronic goods, and hopefully next year we'll work more on big projects.
How do you find the product in Africa? Because you don't have an office, right?
We opened a company in Gabon, which we didn't
Okay.
we didn't have because we had to shut it down because the cost of running was too expensive, and it was not a big market. So basically, how we found projects is just by the network of relationships that are created over there, by friends that reference us. And at the end of the day, you don't have that many black dudes that have success in China that come back to Africa. So it's
Yeah. Yeah, you're unique, and people might talk about you. People remember you easily because of your story.
especially when you come with the will on doing something. We have many people from the diaspora that come back to Africa and coming from Europe and see things once again as a past. But coming from China, even if I bring you to Africa, you will come. We want to disrupt things because every day we are facing disruption in China. So when you come, you come with new ideas. So you don't have that many people. I would say you don't have that many Afro-Asian, as I call myself, and a bunch of Africans that have been, I would say, raised in China, that come back to Africa with a will and the ability to change things, to do things. I will not be so pretentious to say that we're going to change things, but definitely we're going to work together to build new things.
Talking about the diaspora, China has relied on the diaspora to some way develop part of the economy. But I always feel that there is a part of the diaspora which is Chinese diaspora, which is totally disconnected now to the Chinese economy, and they don't understand China anymore when they come back, especially after 1 or 2 generations. And there is a diaspora of Chinese who went abroad to study only and then came back to the country like 10, 15 years ago. What do you feel about Africa? Do you feel the same segmentation can make sense? Because the situation is different, the diaspora can play a different role in Africa.
I think the situation could be the same. I believe that you have the elder generation, like people like my dad, that moved to France to study, did their whole career, and eventually at the end of the day went back to Africa. But they didn't really work on doing something. But now you have, I would say, my generation that wants to do something. So they go to France, they study, and boom, they really want to do something. And you have also a different of generation. I always say, like, especially once again, you have to understand there is different Africa. There's a Francophone Africa, the French-speaking Africa, and there's the English-speaking Africa, which is totally different in terms of business. In the Francophone Africa, people that are 50, 60, the only dream that they had is they wanted to become minister. Okay? People that are in the 30s, like you, 40s, like me, we want to be businessmen. We want to make business. And the difference lay there. So we really want to do something when before the thing is, okay, I want to become a technocrat. I want to become a minister. So the interest was different.
Yes, I see. So you see the segmentation more in terms of age than in terms of what people did before. Okay, I see.
Exactly, more in terms of age. And when you move to English-speaking Africa, most of the diaspora, which is young, they are businessmen. They've seen opportunities. They see, okay, what happened? They're looking at fields that their parents will never look at, like agriculture. Like their parents will never look at agriculture. But I met a guy from, I think it was Zambia, and he had a business in passion fruit, and he was doing great. So you see all these kind of things. And he was raised in London, but that didn't stop him from doing agricultural business in Zambia. So.
Yeah, I see. So before we close, you went into tech in Africa, and we talked a lot about it. We even worked together a little bit on part of your journey. And could you tell us more about what you did and how it influenced your main business? Because I still feel your main business is still DBX, and how this deep dive into tech, mobile, the internet, basically, change your perception on DBX?
What I did actually I moved into tech in Africa as a good Chinese. I saw an opportunity and I just moved into it. In this way, something that you cannot undo on me. It's I think as a Chinese businessman. That's it. I've been, my business acumen has been sharpened in China. So I really think as a Chinese businessman. So as I was working on a design and build project for the Ministry of Education in Gabon, I saw the huge lack in education, in tools to educate young Africans, and the huge needs for it. I also saw the lack of data when we talk about data, and data is the new oil that we have. I mean, we don't know anything about these students, but my God, there are 200 million of them. And they will become the next middle class. So I started a social media that were part of I would say, like giving them knowledge that they don't have, and also giving them the ability to connect together, and for us, giving us the way to acquire data. And it was great because it put me in front of the reality of the internet in emerging markets. It's not what we believe. It's just like, when you take, let's say, Cameroon, that only has 20% internet penetration, where you don't put ads on Facebook and hoping it will succeed. It doesn't work like this. So it really allowed me to see a different approach and to create offline communities, which is very interesting. And we know the way we enroll people, we enroll them by making them filling forms. Like, it's like, what? But yes, it works crazy, just like, because they were so used to filling forms that, it's just, we enrolled thousands of them just filling forms, giving us information on their phone numbers and name, what they like, and things like this. So it was great. What it gave me for DBX, it allowed me to move into the tech world, which I'm a techie, but I was not into it. And it allowed me actually to push the momentum and to create, you will see next year, we're working on a new project. We will still be in Africa. It will be heavily on design and build, but it will incorporate tech as well. So it's going to be fun.
Okay, so you leverage it. Okay. I feel that moving from one industry to another, basically, you have worked in two different industries. One which is construction, design and build, and then afterward, social media, building a social media. It's totally different. And in some way, you don't really leverage your past experience. Do you feel it's good because you open your eyes, or it's a mistake because it's slowing you down? What's your take on it? If you have to advise other entrepreneurs who maybe feel a bit bored with their business and want to get a new momentum with another very, very sexy and very trendy industry?
In a way, if you look at numbers, it was a mistake because it did slow DBX down. Because I did really focus for 1 year. I was managing team in India, managing team in Cameroon, overseeing my Chinese team in DBX. It was like a bit of split. And yes, we took a hit. We took a hit on the numbers. That being said, in 2 years from now, I think it will have been a smart idea for me to have moved into this tech world. Because now, last year we also, two of my teammates in DBX started a prop tech project, which I was overseeing. And we could never have started it if I didn't have this knowledge of internet that I acquired. And now we can, now I can talk about prop tech, I can talk about blockchain, I can talk about things because I know how it works and I know how it can work in emerging markets.
Understand. Okay. Coming to an end, I think it's 1 hour already, actually. How did you like it? How did you like the interview? How did you think we missed some part of the journey? What's your feedback?
No, you didn't miss anything. It's really hard to come back to ask someone about his 23 years of life, of professional experience, and even for DBX, which is since 2004. It's really hard, but you did ask good questions. That's the only thing for anybody that wants to open business in China. I would say it's great. It's never too late. You just have to think it. You have to understand that you will take some heat. It will not be easy, but it's feasible.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for your time, and I really enjoyed talking to you as always. And I'm looking forward for you to send you the podcast, and the vlog will be online, I guess, in 2 weeks. Thanks, Jake. Bye, everyone.